2,
Watch
1.
the Fling Show live on YouTube Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Central Time.
Just come outside. We're gonna take you on a beautiful ride. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show.
We noticed that there was nothing really going on in the north side of town for this year's Trilogy Challenge, so we said, hey, we'll go ahead and put one on. Registration for that is live through Disc Golf Scene. Cheap event to get in on. Total cost of $40 per player. You come out there and you play with the 3 discs. They've got all kinds of prizes for it. A lot of people have played in these, but there's a lot of people that haven't. And if you're one of those newer players still trying to figure out what you like and everything like that, you really ought to come out and try it. I know for a fact that the Kristen Tartar disc is going to be in this pack as well. So there's a lot of really good stuff. So I sincerely hope that we can get a lot of people to sign up for that and come on out for it. And again, it's a great event. So, we're really looking forward to that. And that'll be on the 16th of September.
Mockingbird. This could be the funny shot of the day.
Or it could be really good.
It could be one or the other. We'll see.
Watch out for that tree right there. Yes. I called it, sorry.
Well, all right. Welcome to the Fling Show, folks. My name is Chris, and my co-host right there, Mr. Himmeline. We're here to bring you all things this past weekend disc golf, especially with the huge events that were going on. But before we start that, I always like to thank our Lone Star sponsors. The sponsor of the show, Lone Star Disc, the only disc made and manufactured in the state of Texas. And Hemi and I had an opportunity twice in the last about 10 days to go out to Lone Star and play their little course. As you can see, got out there with Travis, and man, they've got some very demanding holes, and they have done a pretty good job with that small 6 acre lot they have up there in the front. and getting a nice little course out there. So if you have an opportunity to get out there, do get out there to the distribution center. Go get you some brand new discs. They've got things that are just flying off the shelves. Himmy got to throw some new discs this week. We'll talk about that here in just a second. And then you also have the Toad coming out soon as well. So looking forward to that. Well, also that music that you heard earlier, not a new tune, I'm fairly sure, but a new tune to us and for us from Mr. Himmeline. Love the music as always. Thank you, David. David, how you doing, my friend?
How'd you get that? That was crazy. That was from the 80s. No, actually influence from the 80s. It was from about 99.
Well, when I heard it, it definitely gave me pause for thought on a question that I have for you that I'm going to have for you in just a little while. But it definitely kind of gave me that vibe from a band that you were very familiar with and kind of friends with the lead singer with as well. So I've got a question here in a little while for you that as well. But until then, let's talk about the big events happening over the weekend, namely Worlds. What were your thoughts on it this weekend? Kind of give me the lowdown. And while you do that, I'm going to get us ready for some live video that I want you to go over as well.
Okay. Just, I have the feeling that, for the first time, I think I had that feeling that I used to get when I used to obsess on watching ball golf the same way. And I always look forward to the end of it, just like watching NBA in the, fourth quarter, final 5 minutes, whatever. When it gets down to, the back nine of the final round, especially at Worlds, and with it still being so tight, even it was a moment where I realized we're here. We've gotten to the point where we can watch the third, fourth cards, and also just special stuff that happens way back. Somebody gets an ace, or it's covered. So that was my feeling on that. As far as the competition, I think it was just a takedown by Robinson. He was on a mission. I think it was like, wire to wire, wasn't it? I'm not sure. He may have gotten caught one time there in the final round or within a stroke or so. I can't remember. But,
So what did you think about the format this year? I know that you had called me and texted me, and you kind of were really looking forward to the old school way of the format this year. So give us your thoughts on that. And I'm going to bring up
okay.
Yeah, they this way of starting off your day on the tournament as well after you answer.
They were kind of forced to do it because of the weather, and they were forced to scrunch in, old school style and get some, 2 rounds a day in. And I think it was Chris Dickerson digging it, and at that point I thought he might do well here. He might pull off a win. That guy will win a Worlds, and that seemed like the perfect place for him. But
so
yeah,
it was
interesting.
off your day this way.
I love when I start off the day that way. When I'm Calvin Heimberg, Vinny, the guy's incredible. I really thought he was going to take it down. That's what I was talking about off the top, was how just flexible it is now. And it's not the same two or three guys always, taking it home. So, and, I love the slow old school Annie shot. How it kind of made a comeback, on that course. It was really on display there. If you could throw a slow turnover, it served you well out there.
Agreed. I just
What'd you think about the OBs everywhere? I mean, I realize there's some hills. Some of those drop-offs are like, massive. They talked about, I caught some of the coverage talking about how that's why the rope's there, because normally you think, okay, it's got some good shrub and some good woods, why not just let them play it out, But did you notice that almost every hole was lined with OB? It had to be really challenging. I would really love to play that course, the day after with it all set up just like that, just to see how bad I am compared to what those guys are doing out on the tour now,
Right. And what I agree with you on the OBs. I think that it made for a more competitive tournament. It's still kind of strange to see someone shooting, 46 down. But these guys are so
Still,
good. I
yeah,
mean, you look at this
still,
right here. I mean, nailing that
even with the OB everywhere, still just nonstop.
OBs and
Birds.
trees. I mean, I think it showed all different styles of disc golf, except for, like, you and I always speak to the fact that sometimes the hills are really not given the difficulty of the shot on camera, right? You don't really get to really
Yeah.
understand how difficult it really is with the hills. But some of these shots that these guys threw were just amazing. And right here, as you see, what we're looking over is the top 10 shots over the weekend, but just some amazing, abilities, right? I mean, and we'll get to
Right.
the ladies here in just a second. I mean, right off the basket right there. I mean, he's
That's
going
what-
OB, but he doesn't care if he
See,
goes OB.
and
though, right?
to your point, we think, okay, this one's easy. Why doesn't somebody just ace run it? And we would get there, and you and I would be like halfway down the fairway. That's what I mean. I'd love to get some perspective on these hills and what it takes to throw in some of these up shots. Are treacherous.
I
Like,
love the coverage that Jomez is getting now as well, because just like you said, these aren't just the lead card guys here. These are, in the back holes. These are, not, I mean, obviously Redline was, but not all of these shots were lead card shots, right? But
Yeah.
it's just wonderful to see the putting too from distance. I mean,
Well, they get the story. That's what I like about watching the coverage right now. They understand the story. Does that make sense? To be able to cover an event like this, you need to know the stories. Now I'm not talking about people's personal stories. What's going on in the match, and or just what shook things up. To be able to go back and pick out somebody who's hot, tearing it up or whatever, they've got it covered. Doing a great job. Definitely entertained by it, being a fan.
and then the ace right here with Emerson on the card down
I
here
missed
below.
it. I missed it. Can you rewind now?
Oh yeah, I can get you back on this one. Now, this isn't the best shot to the basket, but from the tee box, you can tell he just throws it really well, lays it in there, and then you have Emerson's on the card here, comes in just a second because obviously they heard it. The guy that on the card with Emerson, that kid looks like he's 15 years old.
I know.
And then, of course, this is the best shot of the weekend for Nate, who ends up acing the hole with a skip in ace. And look at how they captured this too. They not only get it on the first time, but wait till they show it in slow mo, which I kind of did with my tree hit, thanks to David. Yeah, really funneling in on that tree for me to hit the other day. But here in just a second, they're going to go over slow motion of it. Oh, I guess they didn't go over this one, but we'll go over the ladies here in just a second. But just the shots there. And I think you and I also discussed that I think the shot of the tournament was done on the FPO card.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
no doubt. It was a cool shot, cool moment.
So let's talk about the ladies right now. I think that was a more competitive side. However, I mean, Tatar is just a machine. I mean, what were your thoughts on her performance this weekend?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, her I was thinking about it when it first started and the final round, but right before it happened, I ran across a social media on it was Paige. And Paige was like, let's give it up for our girl, and she kind of got me pumped up. And I'm like, she might do this. And then Tatar kind of had a slow start. I think just, kind of looked human there for a minute. And I thought, okay, this could be it. And then I started thinking, her human moments are like far better than everybody else in the FP bill right now. Like she can make up for mistakes because she's just so far ahead. Forehand, backhands,
305 feet right there,
yeah.
Laying it up next to the basket.
And the mental side,
just a second ago, on the first top 10 was Monjandro, representing Texas real well as well. But look at this shot right here, almost 400 feet, Hemi, and puts it within 5 feet.
Yeah, And and now I'm thinking, here's a little perspective. Go to RP and measure my throw. I got one at like 425, but it skipped like a mile on this grass that's like this thick, and I got every bit of it to measure it, and these girls are throwing right at this basket at 400
I mean, she just watch this on the replay. She hits the front of the basket with this one. I mean, just what a beautiful shot. Plays a skip shot perfectly. That's always the problem with the camera behind, getting that player out of the way. Boom, bang. Right off the front of that basket. They're really capturing it really well this year with the Joe Maz. Oh, Missy Gannon. No, just a 265 footer. Let's just see if we can actually hit it, right? Hits the base of the basket. What do you think about those raised baskets as well? I mean, very few of those were just poles only. Here's another one.
I mean, you'd have to ask somebody who actually plays it as it relates to the course. That's the way I look at them. Sometimes you need one like that 13 at Northside. That's fine, every once in a while, but you maybe going overboard if you're elevating every one of them,
Right.
But I don't think
that one's a pole in the ground.
They had a pretty good mix, and I think they made sense.
I agree. Look at this. Now talk about the weather. Look at this shot right here. It's pouring down rain. You've got, oh my goodness gracious.
I remember that. Everybody on the card was just like dumbfounded. I remember looking at the card. They were all
Here's the tar again.
There's another elevated basket.
Another elevated, and just puts it dead center in the basket. And that is not an easy putt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. She's got the mental side. It's going to be a long time or injury before something happens, with somebody taking down FPO Worlds away from Tatar. She's going to be on a streak, man. I've been saying this for a while now. She's Ken Climo, and we're looking at her.
Yeah, that's a big cut right there.
Lucky. I think it's funny listening to them pronounce her name. I guess they've been given, the go ahead to just call her Lucky.
Himmy, how about the crowd? That's the FPO right there. How about this crowd?
It was incredible.
And then the shot of the tournament, you called it. You called me on this one too.
Yeah.
My goodness.
So what, I told you this, what did that remind you? What does that look like? I know awesome. That was the best part. And she's like, I'm going to run it down.
I'm going to run all the way down there. I don't care how tired I get. Lose all my energy. Look,
her caddy takes off. It's like, okay, well, we're done. And so the caddy later, I don't know if you caught it here, the caddy, and they stand over here to the left and they don't even go back to the tee pad. They're just like,
oh yeah, right there.
Yeah, there comes the caddy. That was my favorite part, actually.
Yes.
But what does this remind you of?
Oh, it reminds me of the shot.
Yeah, it's like they should reenact. They should put those. I know it's not the same hole, but it's the same shape. They should put those side by side. A little one on top, one on bottom, and play that because it's about the same D. I think it was like 310 or something. I think his was a little further, but anyway. Excellent. Hey, thanks for the new thanks for sitting down and working out the kinks on that. I'm loving the video stuff. Keep it coming.
It's taken me a little while to figure it out, but we're finally getting to it. So this
3 years,
3 years, 150 episodes. Other than that, we're right on schedule as us old people. We're learning as fast as we can. But that allows us to look at this as well, Hemi. This is the standings so far at the G Disc Golf Pro Tour standings for 2023. No surprise who's on top. Actually, no surprise who's actually in the top three. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, with Katrina Allen not playing well, Merch has been down. Holcomb has been off. It's been the same crew pretty much the last 4 tour stops.
It has. And neat thing about that though is we've out of the top 10, both Katrina Allen and Sarah Holcomb have both been on the show. Shout out to the Fling Show for that. Jennifer Allen, it was Jen Allen. Yeah, it's Jennifer Allen who's been on. And then right here on the cut line, Lone Stars only, right there, Lisa Vajakis, right there on the cut line for making it into the finals this year as well.
We know that. Everybody knows he knows how to say it. He just likes saying Vajakis. It's
me in names.
Yeah, he's not. We're not good with names or numbers. So
at all. Zero of that. But you got Julianne
actually, Chris is
Culver
very
there
good.
as well,
Very
right
good
there
with
at 20th.
numbers.
So it's just
Yeah,
kind of neat to see.
She played amazing this season on the tour so far. She's always up in the top 10.
And then
So
let's
that
check
doesn't
out the
surprise me.
guys if it'll pull it. Come on, guys. There we go. So now we got the guys over here. Tell me what's kind of surprising to you who you're not seeing in that top 5.
Well, obviously,
Not even the top 10.
yeah, obviously you got Paul Macbeth somewhere down there, probably around 12.
Nope.
No,
Go
really?
further.
Top 20?
That's it right
Okay,
there.
wow.
He is right at, I believe, 20th right now.
Yeah, and he made a pretty good run at that one, you know. In years past, he may have caught the leader, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't going to be, you know, Isaac Robinson is just as clean as it can be, man, and powerful.
And then as you get once again closer to the cut line, who do we see?
Oh, yeah.
Lone Star Disc gentleman right there with Emerson at 27, Nico at 28, Texan Mr. Mason Ford at 29, and right on that cut line, number 30 and 2 and 33. Take a look who those two young men are. Familiar names?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Fling Show alums.
Mm-hmm. Fling Show alums, and on the cut line this year.
The bomber flick match. We called it a flick, but it was more than that because Robert was more of a backhander, but
which I was, yeah.
The match out at Evergreen, which is not there ananymore.
No.
We still
you got Ulibarri right below him. But I mean that right there from 33 to 30. I mean, that to me is going to come down to the last couple terms to see who makes it. So be very interesting to see who comes out of that. I sure hope that Robert and Chandler are able to, you know, get to that finals. It'd be really neat to see this year. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely to get in the mix. And we've seen it in the past. I think it was a couple of years ago. Not the person that you think is going to win the tour on, you know, championship wins it. You know, it seems like it always comes down to a battle, you know. I think it was Dickerson, you know, just out of nowhere, the guy who's not supposed to win it. It seems like, so that's what makes it exciting, you know, just to get into it is just something, you know. How many we have left? I'm kind of out of the loop here.
You mean as far as tournaments go, majors? I do not know. I could not tell you that. That's why when you talk to
USDGC will be coming up. I guess that would be the biggest thing, you know. It'd be October.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they have left, but
that's why I was asking Travis Dillard the other day when I went over there, because if there's anybody who knows anything about everything about disc golf, it's Travis. That young man pays attention like I used to the score boxes of baseball games. I mean, he knows the statistics in and out. But you and I had a conversation with him because I was confused about the two different rating systems that they have. One is the Disc Golf Pro Tour rating system for who's going to make the finals. And then they had the points for the, I guess the, what is that? Is that the PDGA? Is that the one that has the points for the end of the year series winner?
Oh, that would be the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Okay. So it's flipped.
But
yeah, I mean, so there's basically two different things going on.
And there's qualifiers. There's qualifiers for the USDGC.
Correct.
And
so they've already have
that.
Right.
And a lot of the pros have already qualified. So you'll see a lot of players, you know, getting in. I'm sure a lot of the people who've already played in, you know,
so kind of talk about
like
that a little bit.
You
said something interesting when we were at when we were out there at Lone Star. You said something about the fact that if you've already qualified, then it goes to the next people on who place in the tournament. Because if we're not mistaken, sometimes they'll take 2 from a tournament, and depending on the importance of the tournament, upwards of 4 players. So kind of speak to that, because like you said, most of the time, so many people have already qualified.
Yeah, it's like top 2 or top 4 not qualified, basically. That's how they run that. So like if you got, you know, your Heimbergs and all those guys, they're not going to take that spot because they've already taken it. So towards the end of the season, that's where you see a lot of people getting in. That's when I was qualifying. I'd play a lot of Midwest tournaments, St. Louis, Iowa, Kansas City, just all around there. And you play late in the season for those qualifiers. I'm not sure how it works now with the Pro Tour, but how we did it is we'd find the qualifier. You go, okay, there it is. And then you look at the list, you see the guys, okay, well, I only got to beat this guy and this guy. You could work out the numbers. I mean, I never got that nerdy about it, but I would just know it was a qualifier. I wasn't really looking at the list. I just play my best and see what happens. But I think a lot of times you get distracted by all those numbers and, but as far as viewers, we need to know so we can look at those cut lines and we can be cheering those guys on like you did with Robert and Chandler,
build the story. Like you said, they need to build the story. So I think that maybe
yes,
the next evolution, because we're starting to see different angles of the players where you're not seeing the same shot over and over as far as the same view of the player. They're getting to the front, they're getting to the side, they're getting to the back.
Doing better on the putt.
Guys are incredible. I mean,
doing better on the putts. I think they've been hearing me. And maybe it's just I'm not the only one saying we need better perspective on the putt.
But building the story next, I think is going to be the key. Like you had talked about that young 15-year-old in the MPO, how he did so well until, of course, his putting tended to fade on him. I think building these stories is going to be the important part of looking forward to disc golf and making it interesting.
Yeah. And then there's always, just insights you get from guys like Sexton and, they have the best guys to listen to. I think, I get informed all the time on insights of the game and stuff like that. And one thing they don't go into as much is putting form and how certain, I don't know. I just see kind of a trend with that one young kid that you're talking about. He puts kind of nose up and he fires it in and sort of loses his kind of mojo when he has to nuance a putt in or ante it, or, it just seems like he has that one. And I've seen Gossage do that before too, where it's just like, he's just the tighter it gets into the tournament. I'll do this too. The harder I throw my putt, nerves. It's just like sometimes sometimes it surprises me. They go, man, he throw that fast. I'm like, I usually do when it's a sanctioned event.
Well, for reference, anybody who wants to see great information on putting, need to go back to one of our episodes where Hemi and Yeti break down putting, because if anyone
Yeti
can break it down,
when
y'all two together, and he was talking about the three different putts and the red light, green light. I mean, just setting it up for the young ones. Now, this young man is, like you said, he's 15 years old, but he's only got one way of putting. I think that those nuances hopefully will come as he grows and he listens and he's coached.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me just say too, I mean, it's, he would crush me at a tournament or he would come here and he'd crush everybody at a mini. I mean, I'm not saying the guy's not great. It was really entertaining to watch, but it's just something I noticed with him, Gossage. There's a couple other in the FPO too that seems like when it comes down to crunch time, there's too much firepower on the putt, not enough touch.
Hey,
I think it's important to learn when you're really you're going to decide to I'm going to put my 30 minutes, 40 minutes a day in putting. I'm going to become a great putter. I think it's important to practice different tempos. So you got your routine, you got your stack or whatever, you're practicing your routine, and then try it at different tempos. And maybe, like for me, I just developed a number system: 1, 2, and 3. 1 being comfortable, 2 being fire, 3 being really, pop it, whatever. You just get some kind of parameters about the speed of which you want to putt, and work on that too. And all within your routine, because sometimes you need to baby it. And I'm not saying don't quick release it or, don't try to guide it or anything, but just try different paces. Some people have a nice pace. Yeti has the best pace ever in putting. That's why he's great. I mean, it's the same exact thing, but he's also got, 20 different putting styles. He throws everything he needs to throw
Mm-hmm.
from
And that,
experience.
like, agreed. In that interview that y'all had, go back and watch it. It's just full of great information. All right, Hemi. Now we have a little 6 degrees of separation, and as you can see, we're not just about disc golf here, because behind Hemi is wonderful instruments, and he does all of the music for the show. And Hemi has a vast knowledge of music and some friends in the industry. And one of them is in a band that we both love. I loved before I even met Hemi. I've got all their CDs and went and saw them twice actually perform. And that's a band called The Church. And most of y'all probably do not know who The Church is, but this was a band from the late 80s, early 90s out of, I believe, Britain. Were they not? I could be wrong. But in 1990, The Church played on the famous MTV Unplugged stage. And for those of y'all know who what MTV is and who know what the Unplugged stage is, it's where they would have some of the newest artists and some of the best artists of the time come and play an unplugged set. Well, The Church played in 1990. Actually, kind of funny. It was in January of 1990 when it was recorded, which happens to be my birthday. So who also played on that night? Because typically the earlier shows, which this is one of the earlier shows, they'd have 2 performers, whereas later on when Pearl Jam and Nirvana and bands like that came along, it was just that one band that would set the show. So, Hemi, 6 degrees of separation. You're friends with the band members of The Church, mainly the lead singer, correct?
It's actually guitar player, Peter.
Okay,
Cope.
the guitar player.
Yeah.
The guitar player.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the bass player, lead singer, Steve Kilby, and his other projects. He's got one with this guy named Kennedy, so you can look up Kennedy Kilby. Amazing stuff, and it's all kind of astral plane, like it's spacier than The Church, but it's also very melodic. But no, Peter Cope, guitar player. Okay, now just from Logic's looking at this list,
The Cure.
It's not gonna be
Sinead O'Connor.
I'm gonna eliminate The Cure.
Flaming Lips.
I'm gonna eliminate Flaming Lips just because I can't picture it being with The Church. It's like if I was gonna book it, if I was the booking agent, I'm booking Sinead for sure.
So your guess is Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah, for sure.
Drum roll, please. Let's see who it was. Oh, you got it. It was Sinead O'Connor.
I think I remember that too.
Now here we go. Here's the backdrop on that. Sinead O'Connor with special guest The Church was among one of the first to perform for MTV Unplugged. The show took place in the National Video Center in New York City on January the 30th, 1990, and it aired March 18th, 1990. Well done, sir. Well done. Now, here's the funny thing about that.
I love that album.
Now, here's the funny thing about that. That year, Crowded House and the Black Crowes did perform that 1990
together
year. No, not together, but just that year.
Okay.
The other ones were kind of funny. It was like Poison and just some others. It was just like, oh, okay. Some bands that were more late 80s, that rock and roll hair band stuff. You're like, oh, I didn't really know MTV went that way with the Unplugged, but you can actually watch this video on the Netflix. Netflix has the old MTV Unplugged series on there. And that's how I saw it, because I went and watched Sinead O'Connor. Next thing I know, it's The Church. I'm like, oh, Hemi's got to see this. I should have kept that video up. I should have pulled that one up as well, but well done. Nice. Well done. But
so you got the album you have behind Sinead there is The Church's Starfish album.
Starfish.
Was that the 1990s? Is that all together there? Or did you mash that up?
Yeah, it's all 1990s.
No, I saw them on that tour.
Me too. That's where I saw them at Numbers of all places, is where I got to see them.
I didn't realize it was that early.
In Houston, Texas. Yeah, that was Numbers. 1990. Actually, what's funny is I actually found out about The Cure in the late 80s. from not a fraternity brother, but a guy I went to college with. He was into them and Love and Rockets and that kind of whole genre of stuff. And he introduced me to him. So I fell in love with them. Just like you said, very melodic. Their first album, I think, was released in 87.
Very androgynous, feminine. Music got a little weird there for a while.
Yeah, that's true.
I loved it. The Smithereens.
But Starfish was their best album. I think their best album.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, there are others that, if you're a longtime Church fan, you're always gonna have, albums that mean more to you. But yeah, as far as putting together, their White Album, that was it for sure.
I agree. Now, you sent me something else earlier today that I found extremely interesting, and that was first. You sent me a lot of stuff interesting.
Did you catch it right off the bat when I sent it to you? I sent it to you for one reason, because we share something in common, Chris and I.
Which is on this one. You sent it to me because we both putt with Blue Bonnets.
Exactly, and Blue Bonnets booming up the charts. Look at that. It is
booming up the charts, which is and I didn't see Penny on here.
That surprised me, but these are pro disc golf and we're trying. We don't have the background information on this chart, this pie chart. So
yeah, someone could kind of give us
pro disc golfers
with this decision that it's all pros.
Yeah, and where did you
see
get all
who's
these
on top
numbers?
of it, Hemi? Did you see the smallest two though? Right there on the top.
They do. Maybe the pro players do have to list their putters in there. This is a legitimate list.
Copperhead and Jackrabbits.
Yeah,
we're up there as well.
Made the chart. Yeah.
But Penny did not, which I was very surprised about that. But just nice to see. But that's once again, you and I kind of talked a little bit before the show where you have the AVR, the P2, the PA3, and the Judge. I asked you the question. I said, do you think that's because those companies have more player sponsors that are pros? And that was kind of
that's a good point.
Reasoning.
Swaying that's kind of it's a weird list, really. I need to know more, but it is interesting, and it's great to see the Blue Bonnet right there. And the other numbers, the only thing surprised me there is how big the Judge piece of the pie is.
Which led me to think that's because Dynamic Disc has a large roster of pros. I think that definitely Innova is going to probably have the largest team, right?
Just depends on who you call them pros and where you get the list,
Right. And Pete, I was surprised Prodigy was up there over anything that was Discraft. Because what would be the Discraft putter that would be out there that people would use?
The Luna,
the Luna
Challenger. I mean,
here, let me get a side by side so I keep.
For me, their best putters though is Challenger in terms of just being a pro stable putter. The Challenger, the OS is the one.
Okay, so that's got like 1.5.
I know, right? That surprised me. And the Challenger is got more than the Luna.
Yeah, 2.36, depending on which one that you throw. The OS
is not a very big cut of the market. I don't see a lot of players throwing, Challengers.
I guess if you add that all up with both Challengers, that's 2, 4, 5, and then you say the Luna, that'd be 6. And if you take all the halves, so it's about 7.5. And what do we have as percentage wise? That's over there. 7.8 is a Judge. So I guess
they're in there. Yeah. They just got
they're more spread out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hadn't realized that, there's so many different Challenger options.
Right. It's just amazing. I remember talking to guys at Lone Star saying that this is the hardest market to get in. And it's also probably the market that sells the least amount of disc, if you think about it, to manufacture, because you do not lose your putters very often. And typically most people, once they find their couple putters, they keep them for long periods of time.
And you're not like me, where you just keep buying 2 at a time until you have stacks of 20. That's how I do it.
I'm not talking about people with disc problems. We do have some people who are definitely not real good with their ability.
It'd be funny meme using that same pie chart saying how many different types of plastic does Lone Star have or something. The Lone Star, change the title at the top to Lone Star's plastic options. There's like 80 in there. No, really, they're up to what, 6?
No, there's
different
more
types
than
of
that
plastic?
because
Yeah.
you have V1, V2, Alpha, Bravo, Lima, Delta,
Charlie.
Founders. Is there a
Charlie.
Charlie plastic?
You know what they call it? Charlie?
Which one?
I thought it was called Charlie.
I haven't had.
Type of plastic.
Maybe you're right, but I think that I count 7 right there.
With
I feel like I'm
Charlie,
pretty
that'll be
close.
8. And if somebody,
Yeah, Charlie would be 8 because you have
correct me if I'm
Alpha,
wrong.
Bravo, Lima. Oh no, Glow
Right.
plastic.
And
Then
then
you have the Delta, V1, V2. Yeah, that's
then
8
you
right
got,
there.
Nico's line with all this.
Nico's line,
smelly
Founders
stuff.
line. Oh
There-
yeah,
and that
Nico's line
plastic
with
is
the stuff
I
that's
really like
scented.
that. I like the feel of the plastic though. Like I like scents and all, but the plastic's good. The Starship I got is I can't remember the name of the plastic, but man, it felt good.
And for those of y'all who were watching World, y'all got to see the commercial that Lone Star put out. And of course, their players are always talking about the quality of plastic. And I have to really admit that it is amazing. You cannot say that you don't like Lone Star plastic because they have some type of plastic for every player. I mean, they have it now,
Mhm. And like Nico said, if you try everything that they've made, he said you're going to want to put multiples in your bag. And I was thinking, no, if you try everything they made, you're going to need to take a break. You're going to need to rest your arm. But yeah, there's just so many options, and that makes for a good, marketing tool, because you got to go buy a whole bunch of stuff to figure it all out. Or
So let's talk about that new plastic that you threw this on Tuesday. We got there. Travis comes out the back, puts a brand new disc in your hand that just came out. Kind of talk about what your thoughts of that brand new disc was for you.
Alpha Growler. Growler. It's a 12 speed. So it's a lot like a little bit more stable Harrier, maybe. It's for me a roller disc or tailwind, or situational, but yeah, it's definitely in the bag. It kind of like right out of the bag, or right out of the box, like it's already broken in. It's a good flyer for you. It'll flip up. I liked it.
After a while, you're really getting used to it. I thought you were handling that disc pretty well.
Yeah, kind of a curl, a little bit flippier version of a curl. Still love my curl though. Got one of those old OG curls that I'm gonna miss when I lose it, because there's so many options to find that right feel of plastic.
You asked this question the other day to someone, so I'm gonna ask it to you. What is your favorite Lone Star disc right now?
I'm loving the Blue Bonnet. Just kind of best part of my game right now. Feeling comfortable with the putter again. It takes a while, even throwing challengers for 20 years or whatever it was, to switch and to feel really confident. All of a sudden, it's like my favorite disc. After that, I guess that the new favorite is the Starship, Nico's line. Love that one. Lean on it a lot. It reminds me of drivers I've used in the past from other companies, and it seems like something I'll keep going back to. That curl, yeah, favorite Blue Bonnet right now for sure.
All right, I'm gonna have to say mine is going to be the Lariat.
Yeah.
The Lariat, and then probably that second one for me. If I had to go do a 2-disc challenge, I'd probably be taking the Lariat and the Copperhead.
Yeah, I go with Ranger, and yeah, I'd putt with the Ranger. I'd go with Starship Ranger.
Wow, you're gonna take that Blue Bonnet out? I thought you'd take the Starship and the Blue Bonnet.
Yeah, depends on the length of the course. If I need a putter, if my 2 discs, one of them has to be a putter, it's definitely a Blue Bonnet. And also, I'll have some bennies up for grabs here pretty soon. I need to get rid of, because I decided to go. I tried them out together for a long time, months. 2 or 3 months. I had 2 bennies and 2 Blue Bonnets, and I like to simplify. So yeah, I'll be getting rid of those bennies, which I love. Surprised me that the benny wasn't on that list either.
Mm.
It's a great putter. Amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty new
putter.
disc. I think it's pretty new. Just probably hasn't made it out everyone's hand. I think that during the season, it'd be hard for someone to want to change their putter.
For sure, 100%.
You know.
Yeah, but that's a
Depending on
that's
who
a
it
good
is.
one. It's a close second to my blue bonnet. I love it. I love that. When it comes to throwing putters, there's a certain kind of feel, and once I start having too many options, I kind of lose the feel. I need to simplify things, because I've gotten to where I really like throwing that blue bonnet. I mean, by throwing, I mean 250.
Yeah, your upshot with it is
300.
just amazing. Anything within 150 feet, you've been nailing it with inside circle one about 90% of the time, if not
and
more.
it doesn't glide off. It's got one of the commercials I was watching coverage. I can't remember which player or what disc, but he said it's got a grippy feel and slower glide, which I love. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly why I love the blue bonnet. It's got this texture that I love, and just enough slow glide where it never really sails too far past the basket. It surprises me a lot. Sometimes I go, oh no, it's gone. I'll get there, it's like 5 paces,
And what's even more amazing about the disc that you throw and I throw, they float.
I know.
I mean,
it's almost like, when I first discovered that, and I thought that's a selling point, I'm almost thinking maybe it's not a selling point, because, things that float, are not, it's like maybe you don't want your putter to float, I mean, because you're never going to sell another putter if they all float, I mean, no, I mean, just thinking the perception of it.
I agree, because I throw that
in
in the copperhead, and both of those do not. They both float.
It's a huge advantage that should be a selling point, but it's almost because it's like a karma behind it. Like, we don't want to use that as our selling point.
Because you and I both would have lost
flinging it in the water. Why are you throwing the water?
We both would have lost ours on Tuesday.
Yeah, for sure.
Except the fact that we now both have the best retriever in disc golf. I mean, spoiled, I'm not one. I wish I had it so I could show it, but
hey man, how many times did we use that? I bought that one out there about a month ago.
And you've already used it for me at least
I've used
5
it
times.
50 times already.
Oh,
we used it yesterday.
It's
like 8 times.
Got my
so if you go to that little course, if you go to the 9-hole out there at Lone Star, bring your pole for sure.
Oh yeah, you're gonna lose this. That water, there's now
water.
1, 2, 3.
But
there's 3 water shots, and they're all real close,
and they're all deep, and it's murky.
Yeah, murky and deep. You're not going to get in that water.
Yeah, even if you got the high class stopper grabbers like me and Chris have, it might be totally gone. That one guy, that one guy said no, it's in there, so he didn't even want to borrow it. Oh yeah, also everybody else was using it. It's like, you're gonna lose some stuff. You're gonna throw it in the water, so throw some V2, V1.
I agree. Throw that V1, V2. That's what I love to throw.
They don't make any drivers that float though, do they?
No drivers. The only thing they have is the largest disc they have is the Super Dillo, and it's not really a driver. That it's the biggest disc they have. Other than that,
personally, I'm kind of disappointed in the Dillo. I mean, I know people like it. Maybe it's just I haven't thrown it enough. Just because I've never been one to like when something gets kind of gummy and weird on top, and it's like those Dillos get real personal. After a while. With your thumbs and hitting trees and what I mean, personal, they get their own kind of wavy shapes and stuff.
Well, that's funny you say that, because we've been selling them obviously with our still banging as well, so keeping them flat is extremely difficult between when you store them and then bringing them back out to sell. That has been that's
what I'm saying. I'm not sure if I like the mold,
right,
because of the way it packs and the way it looks when you first grab it. And
maybe they should make it through the Delta plastic, something a little more firm.
Could be.
It doesn't have the bend to it like the V1, V2.
Yeah, I mean, but people get around it and they love it. People that throw it really like it. You like it.
Oh, I like the Copperhead's my disc. That's the one. Hey, before I get into the end of the show, I do need to talk about this event that we have coming up with the Minor League Disc Golf Tour. One of my favorite. This is going to be one of my favorite. I love this one.
Is that what it's called?
Hey, all go to hell because I'm going to go throw disc.
That's the name of it. It's
You like that? That was my little
yeah.
Davy Crockett. Davy Crockett.
Famous quote.
Yeah, famous quote that
going
he
to
had.
Texas.
He said, you can all go to hell. I'm going to go to Texas. Well, you can all go to hell. We're going to go throw disc. And that's going to be next Sunday out at Shawshank. So it's a different format for the Minor League Disc Golf Tour. Cannot wait. This is going to be doubles. And then you switch partners on the second round, but you keep your score to see who the winner is as far as the point in series go as well. But
wait. See, this is this is steel wagon, classic steel wagon right here. There's so many rules. I need a pad. I need a notepad.
Okay.
What's going on? You switch.
So what we have is Minor League Disc Golf Tour. For those of y'all who do not care for PDGA, there are those who are out there that don't. We run a tour called the Minor League Disc Golf Tour where you do not have to be PDGA certified. It's 6 events, point series. At the end, the winners win a Prodigy basket. Okay. Along with cash that's been accumulated throughout each of the events. If you play this one, you get to drop your highest score anyway. So it's only the best 3 and there's 3 left. Okay. This format is the forced format where we're going to play doubles, A pool, B pool doubles. Okay. You'll pair up. And as a team, you keep your score. And then the second round, you switch partners. You draw brand new partners. Cannot have the same one 2 times.
Okay. That was my question. Is the first one to draw?
It's first one to
So
draw.
random draw.
Yeah. Both are random draws.
Okay.
First one's a draw. Second one's a random draw.
I
You
got
keep your individual score, whatever you did as your doubles. And then, of course, the winners get the payout.
That's cool.
For
I
this
like
week,
it.
because in the Minor League Disc Golf Tour, you get paid out that week, and there's also cash that's saved up for the final event as well. So this is at Shawshank. I've just started loving that course. I don't know, it used to really not be one of my favorites, but it's such a beautiful track, and I know we're not going to be able to play for very much longer.
Tournament course. Great.
It is a great tournament. It has a lot of
great place
separator
to
holes
run a
on
tournament. You know,
it. Yeah, it's good
like
separator holes for
family.
doubles. You know, because they got some squirrely holes they can get it sideways for doubles. So I'm really looking forward to it though. But this is one of my favorably named tournaments of the year. I mean,
I like it just like that. Because if you're from Texas, you don't need the rest of it. But I'm glad you're going to throw some disc golf in there.
Yeah. So I took my
my
John Wayne, and that's the original David Bowie. Davy Crockett right there, who played it for Walt Disney when you and I were kids. I forgot his name. I knew it. I can't think of it, but that's who that is.
And that is Davy Crockett, actually, for me.
Right. That's who we
that's
grew up
Davy
knowing.
Crockett.
Right. That's David. If I saw it, exactly. I say, oh, that's Davy Crockett, even though I don't know who the actor is.
And John Wayne is from California. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he is. But he did play him. He did play him in one of the movies as well.
He did?
Yeah.
Davy Crockett. Okay.
He played Davy Crockett. That's how I kind of got this whole meme thing. And then, of course, I just did a bunch of Alamo dressed, attired, both from the Mexican army and the Americans that were there, and made them all, instead of guns, they're all holding baskets. I just thought that'd be kind of fun. But anyway, it's going to be fun. It's on a Sunday, September the 17th. And the day before, as we had talked about a little bit earlier, we also, if you listened before the show started, we're also having the Texas Aster. Now, Hemi, most people don't know what an aster is. Do you know what an aster is? The Texas Aster?
The old Texas Aster, yeah.
It's a flower.
It's a flower, yeah.
It's a Texas flower, and native to Texas.
Didn't know.
Didn't know that.
I know what an osprey is.
Because I got some really strange questions about that name. What are you trying to really say? Well, folks, for those of you who are from Texas and are not botanists, I guess is what that would be. The Texas Aster is a flower, okay? And we'll be throwing the Trilogy Challenge, and that's the day before. And this is a unique event where you get 3 disc and 3 disc only. and you don't get to bring them. We supply them. They're the 3 discs that you see right here with Matt Oram, Ricky Wysocki, and Tatar. They're all signature series disc. Matter of fact, I've got them right here. Him, if you want to keep talking.
I love me some Texas Aster. I didn't know that's what that was. That's actually my soul wildflower. if you have a soulmate, and my soulmate in the flower spectrum, it's a Texas Aster.
All right, so here it is. This is the Vandal.
You got the colors perfectly too, by the way.
This is the Vandal right here. You like that? This is the Vandal signature series. I believe this is Ricky Wysocki. This is Ricky Wysocki's disc.
That's funny. In that commercial, when you're watching the covers, it's like 5 different descriptors on that disc.
Right. Then you have the Warship right here, which is Matt Oram's disc.
Yeah.
Now, they're not all the same color, obviously. They all have different colors that come, so you will get
That's
whatever.
awesome. Do you guys already have that?
And then this one right here is probably going to be the one that everybody's going to want.
Yeah.
She's the champion. This is Miss Tartar's disc.
Great disc.
Pure.
So awesome.
Y'all come on out. We have, I think, 11 more spots open. There's also a prize for the champion that they sent, but we just still banging want to try something a little bit different for everybody. You know how still banging rolls, but this is a 3-disc challenge, and it's the 3 disc in which you get that you play with. So Stonebridge Church Flex Start, that's going to be on the 16th. Okay, and you can sign up on Disc Golf Scene.
Can you still can you still bring 50 discs and pull them around on a Zuka?
You can, you just can't play with them.
Okay. Because you know how it is. People are going to be antsy because all of a sudden they're out of their routine. They're not. So yeah, bring your discs. Just don't throw them.
You just can't throw them.
Okay.
But it's going to be a fun time. Matter of fact, John Bowen and Charles Mayo will be running this event. So like I said, sign up for it at Disc Golf Scene. I think there's 11 more spots, and that is it. No more than that.
That's worth the price of admission right there. Bowen and
Mayo, and you get 3 discs for $40. I mean, that's not a bad buy whatsoever.
I'm done. I'm gonna do it.
It's gonna be fun. So come on out for that. But wow, what an incredible weekend. Looking forward to this next weekend as well coming up. I believe they're playing in Finland. Isn't that the tournament that I saw? I know that they're playing overseas again. One of them are. I know that the United States players are not, but that was the first one that was up. I saw that this morning. But let me get off of this. Get back to the speaker. There we go. But yeah, sign up is live on Disc Golf Scene, guys. Y'all go sign for that. It's going to be a blast. And now that Hemi just said that he's got a couple of Benny putters, we may have to come up with something fun for that. We'll have to put our minds together for that, Hemi.
Yeah.
Make it fun for him.
Yeah, for sure. Man, looks like you got Toronto.
Trying to pull up,
I was just looking at the tour. That's in Canada.
That's okay, Canada.
Anyway.
But that's not the only one, right? There is one, I believe, that's being played in Finland, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking up right now. So while I do that, let's see scores. There it is. Yeah. Heinola, Finland, September the 8th.
Okay.
That's the one that's on right now. That's the only one that I see.
Excellent.
And then you said the one in.
Yeah, just looking at current events on the PDGA's website.
And it's in Canada.
Yeah, Maple Leaf, Toronto Island, Maple Leaf, Toronto.
See, they know when they go up to Canada. You go up to Canada when it's the summertime.
They're dead on.
You come down to Texas in the winter, people. Okay, do not come in to Texas in the summer anymore. Please stop it.
Yeah, and stop.
It's called February. Don't come in February because that's the coldest month, but come in March, April, or May. Okay, or come in late October, November, December. No
Yep.
more of this summertime disc golf in Texas. I mean, this year's been extremely hot, but it's always hot, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of funny.
Yep.
Well, I'm heading off to San Marcos in the morning. Get to go pick up the daughter, bring her back home for her birthday. First year semester. She's gonna be. I know Elizabeth is looking forward to having her home.
Oh, for sure, man.
I'm pretty excited about that myself. I miss the tyke, first time she's ever been away.
Man, I can't
So,
imagine.
Going back to
having
your
a
old
girl.
stomping grounds, going back to Hemi's 3 weeks of his freshman year. It lasted about what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe
2
3, 2.
I think it was 2. Yeah, 2
About
days.
2 weeks. Hemi lasted in San Marcos, and it wasn't because it wasn't a beautiful town.
No, it was just out of my element, following it kind of started a whole chain of doing whatever the heck I want to do with my life, which is it's been
college is called
wreck.
growing up, right? That's what I tell my daughter all the time. College is about growing up and enjoying, having fun, But,
yeah. And no, never mind.
Yeah, we gotta be careful.
There's
This
a
is
lot of other things it's about. But,
it is. We just hope that they don't get into the other things, right?
right. Exactly. Not too.
At least don't tell dad about it. One or the other.
Yeah, just don't tell me for sure.
Right,
I
at
can't
least
imagine being a dad of a girl. I can't.
Yeah,
Picture it. It's
when
a
you
totally
drop them off for
different
the
ball
first,
game.
yeah, when you drop them off for the first time, it's quite the experience. So some of the gentlemen that you and I play with are fathers of young ones, and I just said, of all the things you can prepare for, that might be one that might be the most difficult for men, is to drop their daughter off at a school 200, 300 miles away.
Can't imagine. Not in this day and age,
And with COVID going around, nice to hear.
It's back. Yeah.
Yeah. John did not have COVID.
COVID.
Gotcha. He
had the flu.
He had no dang flu. He said it was the food poisoning.
Okay.
So he went to the doctor, took this test and everything. So good
Got
news.
an IV and
yeah, just cook your food all the way through, John. Okay.
Yeah.
No more raw chicken.
Stop eating that meat, man. You don't need it.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. No, but I'm heading out tomorrow morning to go get her. But I'll be back for this weekend.
All right.
Well, but man, it was a pleasure playing with you this week. I really enjoyed getting that film, and with the music that you've sent, I'll be looking for it. I'm going to put just a disc golf video to Hemi's music.
That early, that was a band that when you played the very first one, it was something from my late 80s, early 90s days. No, I guess it was more like mid 90s. That was a band called 7 Day Dream. And it was really just a name that I put to recording stuff, and also working with my friend Rod. And
do you remember the name of the song, which you named it?
Yeah, I do. I named it From the Shore. Calling from the shore. That's kind of what I had in mind. But Rod had a different thing. And he had a whole set of Rod was a lyricist and incredible composer, songwriter, singer. He was in the play Texas out in West Texas near Canyon. I don't know if you know about that production. It's a big old deal, and to get into it is a big deal, and he was in part of that cast. But anyway, he had a set of words, but I wrote the structure of it, and I wrote the melody, and I wrote all those parts. So I kind of call it Calling from the Shore. But anyway, that was a total surprise. I don't even know how you got that. I don't even have that.
From the Shore, 7 Day Dream, White Feather.
Is that what I called it? White Feather was the album. We had like probably about 10 songs that we wrote together during that short period that I called White Feather. I had this dream. I woke up and there was this white feather in my head, like as if it was. I woke up thinking about the term white feather. What is white feather? So I started looking it up and looking into it. And white feather was a Native American, and the story it's kind of mythological. It's probably changed. It probably has different origins of this same story, but basically he gave up his freedom, his everything, just to save some people that were on train that he wasn't supposed to relate to. He was a Native American. He wasn't supposed to interact with them, and they had gotten into some problems with the train, and there was like a wreck, and he went and took care of all these white people, and that's what he was. And then he came back as a spirit and came back into dreams and stuff of these other people. He influenced a lot of people, kind of like John Smith with the Mormons. You know, he had his Jesus and the road to Damascus moment, you know, where he actually came back. Anyway, long story. I definitely digressed on that one, but that's where all that stuff. There was 7 songs that I titled White Feather.
That kind of when you just talked about that kind of music, it reminded me of Gary Wright, who just passed away. He sang one of my favorite songs, Dreamweaver. He sang Dreamweaver, which was one of my favorite songs, which I do believe was about that type of subject, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, probably. That was great stuff.
And then Buffett passed away as well. You know, we lost some great musicians this year, that's for sure.
Yeah. Did you ever go? I was not into that Jimmy Buffett whole thing, but I respect it, and you know, I love what he did and the vibe that he put down.
No, he was a little before me. You know, he wasn't. Yeah. He was kind of a more, I don't know, one of my uncle's band, just probably 10 years before. Not that I didn't care. I liked some of his songs when I'm in Mexico or something like that, sitting on the beaches. You know, you're gonna listen to it, but I can't say I own any of his stuff. Whereas Gary Wright, I own some of his stuff, just because that was some music that was in the 70s that really set the tone to things that I enjoyed. For
sure, man.
I listened to that song over and
a whole
over
industry
and over
of music right now that's going on. I know a lot of it's happening. You probably find some live music in Houston, that yacht rock. And it's basically those kind of guys that came up with this some special sound in the 70s that
Christopher Cross, right?
They just take you away, you know.
Yeah, I just
so what's new? Is there anything new before we go? Leave us with the new. What's your favorite new kind of music?
You know what's funny? It isn't new. I have just fallen in love. Well, I can't say that it's even rediscovered. It's more that as I've gotten older, you know how appreciation of music sometimes get different. So when you were younger, you were like, oh, I would have hated that stuff. But I have just kind of fallen in love with the jazzy smokehouse blues female singer who just has got just the most incredible voice. You know, I've kind of just fallen into that tone. I really enjoy it, right? It sets a good mood. It makes me feel good. You know me, I like all kinds of music, but that is one that has really just gotten it, that bluesy, jazz, sultry, you know, love songs, and you know how I love songs anyway, but that is really what I have fallen in love with. You know, and Diana my friends will look at me years ago, they looked at me like, what? You know, I'm over there listening to 9 Inch Nails and Ministry and Pearl Jam and Rage and all that stuff and Soundgarden and, you know, diving into mosh pits. But no, now that is, if I'm going on a drive, which I will be tomorrow, that will be probably a good 2 hours of my drive will be that type of music and taking the back roads of Texas, because that's what we do. I don't want to take, if I'm a drive, I'm not taking I-10 or 290. I'm taking the back roads. I'm putting some nice music on and enjoying my drive.
Cool. Or my new one is Post Malone. Yeah, there's a couple of songs there. I actually obsessed on it on Spotify while I was driving for Uber and listened to it for about 4 or 5 days. Everything he's probably written, you know. And then saw some of his live stuff, and that's my new favorite. But it's kind of, you know, kind of like a love-hate thing. Sometimes I don't like it at all. Sometimes I really like it. Sometimes, but just that type of music, it's a new kind of thing, it's not put together like jazz, but man, he's an incredible writer and a great pop singer.
Yeah, mine is Melody
Underrated singer.
Gardot, Melody Gardot, Gardot, Gardot. It could be, but I don't think so. But man, and she's probably in her mid-30s, so she's young.
All right, I'll check it out.
But
Get
if
you a
you get to listen,
Merlot and
Melody Gardot.
Get you a Merlot and listen to.
She's got some live stuff out there too that's just amazing. That Alicia Keys, but just more jazz and sultry. That beautiful piano sitting behind it, being able just to show love through the keys, and she just pace and tempo and knows how to kind of just hold you there, right? Where you can feel angst or love or thought, things like that. Really enjoy it. That's so Melly Gardot. She's probably the one that I've really been honing in on.
Cool.
All right, my friend. Well, it was fun playing with you this week.
Thanks for all the hard work. That's a lot of work you put in there. I appreciate it. Makes the show fun for me, and
I can't wait now that I can show video. Now you
got some new tricks.
Up everything, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a blast. I cannot wait.
Yeah. All right. Well, appreciate. Have a good time, and see you when you get back.
For sure. Let me get us all queued up before we go, because we can't go until we see Mikey rolling. But until then, go throw something in the air and play some disc golf, bruh.
Just fling it, bruh.
Just fling it, bruh. Go throw something in the air. And Mikey, take us home, my friend. Till next week. Y'all be safe. Y'all have fun. Stay hydrated. Go throw something in the air.